Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Bob Walters, Locked Up Sports, Saturday night in the big city, New York City. Lot going on. We got the Knicks just wrapping up a win over the Kings. 143 points for the Knicks tonight to 120 over the Kings. We'll talk about that. We got the championship Sunday, the best single day of football all year, tomorrow, just hours away. And the Mets making news that their amazing day. Steve Cohen making comments about Pete Alonso and the disarray and the disorganization that happened at Amazing Day at Citi Field today. And we'll tell you, there's some horror stories from that thing. I get it. It's going to happen. But I've been reading a lot of these stories on social media and stuff about the Mets' Amazing Day. And there was a lot of people that went to that thing that did not have an amazing day. So we're going to talk about that. But let's start with the Knicks. Knicks tonight, 143 to 120. Winners over the Kings. It's the start of a 5-game homestand, all against Western Conference teams. The Knicks coming into tonight, a little shaky against the Nets, right? They went 2 straight games without scoring 100 points. Couple days off, 2-3 days off, and they put up 143. Big game for Anobi. Anobi with 33 points. You got Josh Hart with a triple-double. The Knicks, 4 of their 5 starters scored 20 points. The only one who didn't was Karl-Anthony Towns. He scored 18, but he also grabbed 15 boards. So, yeah, listen, a good all-around win, a win you expect them to get against a team like the Kings, who are just 1 game over 500. Things get a little tougher this week against the Western Conference teams. And the Knicks are in that 3rd spot. And I think that when it's all said and done at the end of the season, I think the Knicks will probably end up in the 3rd spot. I think that I think that they're probably locked into that 3rd spot, but they could fall to 4. I don't think they could get to 2 or 1, obviously, with the Cavs and the Celtics, but I think they could slip. And you don't want to slip into that 4 or the 5, because then you're playing in the 4-5 game, and you could theoretically lose in the first round, and then that would be unacceptable for the Knicks team. I think they also have to establish more dominance at Madison Square Garden. You want that to be a place that teams do not want to come into. And the Knicks aren't bad at Madison Square Garden. They're 15-8, but they're also 15-8 on the road, which is a weird, especially for the NBA. It's a weird to have a team as good as the Knicks with 30 wins, a team on pace to win 50, 55 games, to be usually they're dominant at home. Knicks aren't dominant at home. They're the same as they are on the road. They're good at home. Now you got this 5-game stretch homestand. They play Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and then the following Monday against the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, the Lakers on Saturday, which is always a big game, and then the Rockets, the 2nd-seeded Rockets. I mean, you got teams now. Tonight you had the Kings with 23 wins. You got 30 wins with the Grizzlies coming in. The Nuggets have 28, 24 for the Lakers, and then Houston's got 29 wins. So the Knicks, 2 games behind the Celtics, who were in the 2nd spot, 7 games behind the Cavs. I don't think you catch either of those 2 teams. Celtics have hit a little bit of a rut lately. They won tonight, but the Celtics are a 3-point shooting team. All they do is shoot threes. So when you do that, yeah, you might score a lot of points, and if you're good enough, which they are, you're gonna win a lot of games. But there are gonna be stretches that you just, the shots aren't falling when you're a jump shooting team like that. And they went through that a little bit. Then they're still 2.5 or 2 games ahead of the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks are catching those 2. I think you'll be okay with hitting the 3 seed, getting into the playoffs with the 3 seed, because it's not really about the regular season anymore with the Knicks. It's not about making the playoffs. That's we've moved past that now in the evolution of this Knicks team becoming from just a laughing stock to a respectable team to making the playoffs to now a good team. The goal is this year is I think it's conference finals, and it's possible. And you want to get you want to stretch that conference finals out, and hopefully, with a little luck, you get to the finals. That's where we're at with the Knicks. The front office they've done a fantastic job putting this team together. They haven't made a misstep yet. And last year it's a shame because they took it to 7. I think they took it to 7. They all got hurt, and they lost Game 7. It was kind of an unfortunate. It was just bad luck. Things were not. The stars did not align for the Knicks in that series against the Pacers last year, and I think if they got there, they would have given the Celtics a run for their money. I don't know if they would have beat them, but they would have given them a run for their money, and they could give them a run for their money this year. So it's not about the regular season anymore. It's about what you do in the playoffs when you're the Knicks now, and it's getting over the hump of that second round and getting into the conference finals. You saw it last year. It's a fun place. New York City is a fun place in the spring when the Knicks are in the playoffs, and it's even better when the Rangers are in the playoffs, who are playing a bit better now. We'll get to them in a minute, but let's see what they can do. You got a 5-game stretch here where you'll go out there and win 3 out of the next 4. You take 4 out of 5 on the homestand, and then away you go. You get, they have the 2 all-star starters. First time in like 40 years or 50 years that the Knicks have had 2 starters in the all-star game, and it's Karl Anthony Towns and it's Jalen Brunson. So, listen, you're a good team now. There's no excuses. You got 30 wins. You're on pace. You're going to win 50 on the low end, 55 games on the high end this year. You got to do some damage in the playoffs. So, Knicks with a win tonight, 143 points. Man, Knicks score a lot of points, but they also give up a lot. You don't want to give up 120 to a team like the Kings, because when you're playing a better team, you might lose that game if the other team plays any semblance of defense. We got Championship Sunday tomorrow. Just a fantastic matchup with in the AFC, and a good matchup in the NFC. I think the NFC game is going to be better than people think it is. Brett and I will be here. We will be with you tomorrow. We were going to release an episode 12 o'clock. It'll be released. We're going to tape it early in the morning. We'll release it. It'll be out there for you guys to listen to watch by noon before the game. Me, Brett, previewing the games, and we're going to go over it real quick here. I think in the first game, you got the Eagles and the Commanders, right? Commanders out of nowhere, rookie quarterback. A lot of times, the problem I have with the Commanders is, one, you're not gonna play a game like you played last week. They were just clicking on all cylinders. Everything was going right. They went up and down the field, and they won a track meet against one of the highest scoring teams in the NFL. I mean, Jaden Daniels has led the Eagles offense to 11 scoring drives on their 16 possessions in the playoffs. 11 for 16. They've put points on the board. Jaden Daniels is having just like an unbelievable start to his career. One of the best we've ever seen. But you're not going to do that tomorrow against the Eagles, okay? The weather's supposed to be okay. It's not going to be like last week where there was snow and then snow all over the field and everything like that. Snow coming down the whole game. It's going to be cloud. The forecast is cloudy, 30 degrees, some wind. I think that the weather, it will be a non-factor, and it's going to be a non-factor in both these games. It's going to be cold, but it's winter. You got all these teams they're fine with cold. Jaden Daniels has got to play mistake-free football. And if he does, Washington's going to have a chance. And they're a 6-point underdog. If I'm betting with the points, I'm taking Washington, because I think this is going to be a tight game. And the Commanders beat the Eagles. They split the regular season, the 2 meetings in the regular season. These are division rivals. These are teams that know each other, teams that don't like each other. And when you look at the numbers for Saquon Barkley, I mean, yeah, they're fantastic. In 2 games this year, Saquon Barkley has run for, where is it? In 2 games this year versus Washington, Saquon Barkley has 296 yards, 4 touchdowns. And you say, wow, how are they going to stop that? But when you look into those numbers a little bit, he got most of those yards in about 3 or 4 runs. In the second game, Washington held Barkley to 16 carries, 27 yards. And think about it, he played 2 games against him. He's got almost 300 yards. He busts a big one. You have to stop Barkley from busting the big one. You can't have him, have an 80-yard touchdown and another 60-yard run. You can't have him, he can wreck the game. You can't let Barkley wreck the game. He's not a powerful runner. He's not going to run through people, run over people. If you kind of contain him to, a couple yards, try and get him, get some pressure in the backfield, stop him. He's more of like a juker, and he's great at finding the holes, and he's got great vision. So when he does see a hole, he hits the hole and he's gone. But if you can prevent Barkley from getting, those big chunk runs, the big home run hits, on the run game, and you could have Jaden Daniels play mistake-free football, don't turn it over, I think the Commanders will be right in this game, and I think they'll have a chance. Now, whoever comes out of the NFC game, it's asking a lot going into the Super Bowl. Like we said, the Eagles are 6-point favorites tomorrow because whoever wins this game in Kansas City, which is the marquee game of the day, and just as high profile and everything as last week's game with the Ravens and the Bills, you have Josh Allen trying, after stopping Lamar Jackson from getting over his hump, he now has to get over the hump of his own, and it's beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen is 4-1 in the regular season against the Chiefs. He's 0-3 in the postseason. And he's played some of the great games we have seen in recent history in the postseason. He put that one where they changed the overtime rule, where it was just back and forth. It was an all-timer. And I think tomorrow could be another one of those all-time, classic championship games. The Chiefs are beatable. Now, I'm not betting against the Chiefs until they lose. I'm just not doing it. They win. They don't play well. They win. Andy Reid puts in game plans. Andy Reid's teams just win. Mahomes is a winner. They don't lose. When they play bad, they find a way. And I think tomorrow, they find a way again. Now, this, out of all the Chiefs teams that we've seen, this is probably this is one of the shakier ones of this run that they've had. You got the offensive line is in shambles. The tackles, they have no tackles. If Von Miller can have a kind of turn back the clock type of day, then the Bills are going to be in business. Because Mahomes can, juke and run around in that backfield like better than anybody. But if you can disrupt Mahomes, he's like any other quarterback. We saw the Giants do it to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl twice. If you can get back there and hit him and disrupt him and make him uncomfortable in that pocket, even someone like Mahomes, who runs all over the place and has circus acrobatic throws, will make mistakes. And if Mahomes, he gets desperate and he gets wild, he's got a little bit of Brett Favre in him, where he makes throws that, they are risky. And a lot of times he gets away with it. But if the defense for the Bills can get a pass rush and disrupt Mahomes, force him into a mistake, that might be all it takes. It might just be one mistake, and it could decide this game. A turnover, a special teams play. It's going to be one of those games. It's going to be tight. You got two good teams. I mean, really, the only game the Chiefs lost all year was to the Bills, right? Because you could throw away the last week of the season when they didn't play anybody against Denver. They lost one game this year, and it was to the Bills, 30-21. Josh Allen with a big day, of course, but Josh Allen's going to have a big day. Josh Allen has had a big day in two of the three losses in the playoffs to the Chiefs. Josh Allen had huge days. But what happened? The Chiefs won because they find ways to win. Kelsey somehow finds himself wide open in the middle of the field. You can't let that happen. And the Bills have to establish the running game. Cook has got to have a good game tomorrow. That's important. Because like I said, if you can establish the running game, they're going to have to respect it. You're going to have the secondary moving, the linebackers moving up to play on the line. It's going to open things up in the middle of the field for Josh Allen. And because Josh Allen's going to run, he's going to get his yards. He's going to run over some people. Probably going to score a touchdown. Mahomes is going to run around in the backfield like a lunatic. And I also think, keep an eye on it, on the referees and the penalties that get called and what type of penalties get called. I think all the focus on the Chiefs getting the calls and the league wants the Chiefs to win, and then they don't let Mahomes get touched. Don't be surprised, because the referees are human too. If they don't throw the flag as quick as they have been in the Chiefs' favor, because that's been the big talk all week. All you hear is, Mahomes doesn't get touched. He baits them into penalties. He slows down on the sideline. He doesn't slides late. They hear all that. I'm not saying anything was said to the referees from the league or whatnot, but they hear that chatter. And they're human beings. They might be a little more reluctant to throw a flag. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I can't wait to see it. Unfortunately, I have work at 9:00 tomorrow, so it's it sucks. But I'm hoping to be able to watch the whole game, and I can't wait to watch it. I couldn't wait to watch last week with the Ravens and the Bills. This one is going to be just as good. Just as good. They always are. And like I said, it's a 2-point spread. It opened up 1.5, and it's gone to 2 now. Bills are getting 2 points. Listen, that's basically as even as it gets. If it's within a field goal, that's basically a pick 'em. I think you don't want to say that the Bills are the better team, but this year the Bills are equal to the Chiefs. And can Mahomes work his magic? He can. He has done it every single time. He never plays bad in a big game. Never. And to me, he's quickly becoming one of the greatest ever. When this is all said and done, he's going to be right there in the conversation with Brady and Manning and all the rest of them. And you really are not going to be able to argue against it. You could argue the Brady but I mean, have you ever seen Mahomes do these things? Just last week, he's falling down. They got both his legs. He's falling forward, and he finds Kelsey wide open in the end zone. He's a magician, and he's one of the greats of all time. And if they can get this Super Bowl, they can win 2 more games, be the first team to ever win 3 in a row, be in 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 5 Super Bowls. They've been in 4 out of the last 5 Super Bowls. They've been in this game, the championship game, 6 straight times. You know how hard that is? And then on the other side, you got the Bills and the Bills Mafia and just the suffering that they've gone through over the generations, whether it be the 4 straight Super Bowls, because they weren't really like the Super Bowl 20 against the Giants, Super Bowl 25, Super Bowl 25 against the Giants. That was the first of 4. That one they could have won. The Giants won it by keeping the ball out of the Bills' offensive hands. And that's what I think the Bills have to do tomorrow. It's more than just Josh Allen against Mahomes. It's getting to Mahomes. It's the Von Miller and the front 4 of the Bills getting pressure on Mahomes, make him uncomfortable, force him into mistakes. And then on offense, Josh Allen's going to do his thing. It's about holding the ball, not giving the ball to the other team. You can't turn it over. You can't turn it over in these games and win. We've gone over this. The Ravens did it last week. I think the Ravens were probably the better team coming in. They gave the ball away. They put it on the ground, and they lost the game. And that is what's good. You cannot give Kansas City any second chances. You have to control the clock, do your thing, force Mahomes to make a mistake, make him uncomfortable in the pocket, get a pick, get a special teams play, and you're going to have a chance at the end of the game. And I think it's going to be a 1-score game, another fantastic game. And gun to my head, I'm picking the Chiefs just because the Chiefs don't lose. Chiefs don't lose. Eventually, one of these years, maybe they will. But until I see it, I'm not picking against them. And that's your 2 championship games. We will have our Super Bowl matchup by tomorrow around 10 o'clock. It'll all be laid out, and then you start the avalanche of the 2 teams that win, and you just get buried in orange. Tomorrow is the last regular day of football for the football fan in the season, because when you get to the Super Bowl, it's just different. The parties, the commercials, it's hard to pay attention to the game when you're at the boxes and I don't like any of it. I like the game. I like watching the Super Bowl. I like to watch this. I don't even like going to Super Bowl parties because you can't really watch the game. Too much going on. I want to sit and watch the game. So that's the report for the championship games. Decent weather, it looks like, in both spots. Partly cloudy. No real precipitation. No crazy wind. Just cold winter. A regular winter day in Philadelphia. A regular winter day in Kansas City. and let these two teams have at it, or these four teams have at it. And when the smoke clears around 10 o'clock tomorrow night, we will have our Super Bowl matchup. Now, before we go, the Mets. Today, the Mets had their amazing day, is what they call it. It's basically a fan fest. I think it was like $40 or $50 for a general admission ticket. You get in there. They have former players, current players. There's an autograph thing. There's some panels where they talk. And I've been reading some of the people, what the people are saying coming out of this thing. And it sounds like it was a disorganized mess. Now, first of all, Steve Cohen made comments on a panel that he was on. He was on the panel. The crowd started chanting, Pete Alonso, we want Pete, whatever. And Cohen made comments. And it's rare. You don't get to, right? How often do you hear the owner actually come out and say something publicly about an ongoing negotiation? Now, I'm in the camp that the Mets don't want Pete back. And I think this kind of further solidified that. He kind of told the fans, he's like, listen, we're going to have to move on. At some point, there's got to be a point where he's not coming back. He said he doesn't like the way the structures that Boris and Pete are trying to come at him back with. Listen, that Boris came right out and he's like, this is garbage. He doesn't know what he's talking about, because anything that we're asking is just normal stuff. And I'm sure it is. The Mets don't want Pete back. If they wanted him back, he'd be here. He'd be signed. Why would they not sign him? Because they could give him 3 years at 100 and he would be here. They knew 3 at 70 wasn't going to get the job done. They knew that. Everybody knew that. Pete wanted 5 or 6. They're not giving him 5 or 6. Nobody's going to give him 5 or 6. And if they do, I think then you deserve what you got in the last 2 years of that contract, or 3 years. I had somebody today tell me, well, if we're going to pay Soto till he's 40, why can't we pay Pete till he's 35? Because Soto, you're paying till he's 40, yes, but you're also getting 20 years, 26 to 32 or 33, which are going to be his prime years, where he's one of the best players, if not the best player in baseball. Pete, at his best and his prime years, was never the best player in baseball. He's a power hitter that's probably going to age. The Mets don't want him. They don't want him. I'm telling you. Everything points to that direction. They had to make the offer because of what happened today with the fans chanting. The fans want him back. I get it. But if you're a GM and you're an owner and you start listening to the fans, you're going to be sitting with them. Because that's not how you have to approach this. You can't go, I get it. The fans love Pete. I love Pete. That home run that he hit is iconic, but you can't give him years 4 and 5 because of what he did in a one swing of the bat. He didn't play very well last year. He didn't hit very well. He went into multiple prolonged slumps. And the Mets don't want that. They want Vientos at that first base. I'm telling you right now. And Steve Cohen tried to sugarcoat it with hey, listen, we're signing players. And the more players that we sign, the less likely it is that Pete's come back. He's not coming. He was never coming. And that's fine. That happens. You know what happens? That's the business. Some teams, players don't stay where they are all the time. And it is what it is. And if you're a fan of Pete, don't worry, he'll be back at Old Timers Day. But anyway, as far as this event went, I'm hearing horror stories like it was a disaster. Completely disorganized. Lines all over the place. Apparently what they did they had an autograph session. Now what the way the way the thing was structured is when you bought your ticket, you had a time to arrive. They did 9 in the morning, 10:30, noon, 2 o'clock, and so on. And you're supposed to leave. If you came at the 9 o'clock, you're supposed to be leaving by the 10:30. But they didn't kick anybody out. They weren't checking tickets. So everybody just kind of hung around. There was more than 10,000 people. The lines were outrageous from what I hear. And what they did with the autograph thing is it doesn't seem like it was right. From what I understand, it's not right. They put everybody in a line, right? You had 4 separate lines, autograph lines. You got to go into one of those 4 lines, and you would get 2 players. You didn't know who you were getting. until you got into the tent and you saw who you were getting, and you can't switch lines. And that's not right, because some of these people paid a lot of money. Now, the panels, I saw some of the panels, packed. And I get it, but they did this in 2020, and it supposedly, I haven't been in either one of them. It was run fantastically. I don't think they had 10,000 people at the one in 2020, though. So I to the Mets, I would say it's a good idea to do this. It steals a little bit of headlines. It puts you in the news a little bit here in January, when you're really, the bulk of the hot stove is off the table. The winter meetings are long gone. Baseball's in the back of everyone's mind. It's not in the newspaper really anymore. It's a good thing to do for the Mets. But you can't be charging these people $40, $50, $60 and have it run like the way it was run today. Very disorganized, lines all over the place. There were some people who just straight up said, "I wasted money. I didn't get to see anything." There was no, you were just kind of wandering around. It sounds like they were wandering around, just running into, you bump into the Doc Gooden or Darryl Strawberry. It's a good idea, but it doesn't sound like it was run very well or organized very well. And there's a lot of people out there that are bitching and moaning, taking to social media to bitch and moan about what happened at Amazing Day. I saw a lot of statuses, not a very amazing day, a terrible amazing day. And that sucks. Because if you spent your money and you went with, kids, and your kids went, and they're going to be disappointed. But the news coming out of it was of course, Steve Cohen making the comments about Alonso. And I don't even think it's news. I think they told you last week when he rejected the offer that the talks have broken off and we expect him to sign somewhere else. And it's starting to look like he's going to sign in Toronto. And if you thought opening day tickets were expensive before, wait till you see what it is when Pete Alonso signs with Toronto and they play opening day the Mets opening day at Citi Field, home opener against the Toronto Blue Jays. First game for Soto. Pete Alonso's return. Off of last year with the city fell in love with the team. They're going to be monster prices. And it's always, I don't go to opening day. I'm not an opening day guy because I think it's too overpriced. It's outrageous. They have $200, $300 tickets now. And then as soon as the news came out that Pete that talks were getting more serious with Toronto, those tickets immediately skyrocketed. Because I went back and checked them out 2 hours after that the talks are getting serious with Toronto. Tickets were doubled in price. $250 for standing room tickets. That's playoff prices. I paid less. That's what I paid. No, I guess we paid like $500 when we sat it down, a couple rows off of third base for the Phillies game. But I'm not paying $300 for a regular season, opening day or not. Go to the second or third game of the season. It's just as good. It's just as important. And you can save yourself a little bit of money. But as far as the amazing day goes, not so amazing. In theory, good idea. But you got to organize it. And 10,000, they shouldn't let 10,000 people in. And if you're going to stagger the times where the people are going to come in, make them leave if they're supposed to leave. If you come in at 10:30 and your time slot is 10:30 to 1, at 1 o'clock, you got to make sure the people with the 10:30 tickets leave. Because if they don't, you're just piling people on, and then there's 10,000 people in there in the corridors and then down by the locker room, and nobody gets to do anything. And that's not fair because it's advertised as meet your favorite players, meet your current players, meet the legends of yesteryear for the Mets. Get autographs, attend panels, ask questions. And I'd say about 85% of the people didn't get to do any of that. So, that's it. Hopefully they get it better next year. I really have no interest in going. It's not the kind of thing I want to go to. But either way, a lot of people did. 10,000 people. Listen, there's interest in the Mets now. A lot of interest. So don't forget, tune in. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Look for the episode right around 12 o'clock. It's going to be me. It's going to be Brett. We're going to break down these championship games down to nothing. We're going to tell you everything you need to know right now. The lines, Eagles, -6. Chiefs, -2. And I think they're both going to be good games. I think you could get an upset in the Eagles game. I think Saquon, as great as he is, and he is great, he's a great runner. He gets him in chunk yards. He's nice. Yeah. He has 3 runs of over like 75 yards or 80 yards against Washington. The rest of them are not really, 2 and 3 and 5 yards. If you can prevent that home run from Saquon, I think the Commanders have a chance. And it would be fun to see, Jalen. It'd be fun to see the quarterback get in there, the rookie quarterback, because I don't think either of those teams have beaten the AFC teams. I think at 6:30 tomorrow is the Super Bowl. That's what I think, because I don't think the Commanders, certainly, and I don't think the Eagles, I don't think either of those teams could beat either of the 2 AFC teams. And I don't think they will beat either of the 2 AFC teams. So that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Once again, Knicks with a win tonight. They've won 4 out of 5. The start of a 5-game homestand against Western Conference teams at Madison Square Garden. Let's see if they can get 4 out of 5, right? Let's take care of business. Rangers playing better. We didn't get to the Rangers tonight, but I'm going to do Rangers. Rangers points in 10 straight games. It's looking like the playoffs might happen. Big trades in the NHL, a whole lot going on. But tomorrow, Championship Sunday. Me and Brett will be with you at 12 o'clock. Keep an eye on the episode. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. Don't forget to leave us reviews. Also, if you got something to say about the championship game, if you want to tell us your pick, head on over to lockedupsports.net/voicemail. lockedupsports.net/voicemail. Hit the record. Leave us a quick message. Who you think is going to win these games, why they're going to win, and we'll play it tomorrow for you. That does it for me. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.